Hello, Luke. Take my glasses off. I look better with my glasses off. So, this is my fourth take, by the way. I wanted you to know and put some time in it. Probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm trying to make it as short as possible, so here we go. My history with speaking in tongues is this. I've been a born-again Christian for 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years. I can't remember. I was converted by a Messianic pastor. Messianic, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the denominations, but they're basically an offshoot of the Pentecostal charismatic group. So they practiced that and did that. And I held the doctrine of speaking in tongues until about 9 months ago, something like that, so it's pretty recent. So I say that to speak of understanding of where you're coming from, identification with that, or some kind of word. Kind of tired, so I might look tired. I kind of look high when I'm tired, high off marijuana. But I assure you I'm not high. So the main verse that changed my mind was explained by Steven Anderson, and it poses a problem for those people like myself who believed in speaking in tongues, because if you okay, I'll just go with the argument. So 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 28 says, but, I don't have it, I had it for the other takes, but I closed it. Basically paraphrasing, if there is no interpreter, you can't speak with tongues. The Bible doesn't say speak in tongues, it says speak with tongues. So what that means is all the people who are apparently or supposedly led of the Spirit and are speaking in tongues are in church are in violation of that 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 28, because they have to ask an interpreter first. Now, Steven Anderson's understanding, interpretation of that verse is that speaking with tongues means speaking a different language. So the Holy Ghost, through Paul, is stating that if someone desires to speak to the church in another language, make sure there's an interpreter first, which makes perfect sense. So that's the main verse that changed my mind, because it can, even if you want to say speaking with tongues is an angelic language, it's condemning those people for being in violation of not practicing that correctly, and they're claiming that the Holy Ghost is moving them, which is in direct violation of the Holy Ghost himself, the Word. So that's the main one. Now, a supplementation to that would be this. It's a verse that you quoted, and I understood it the same way you quoted. I interpreted it the same way that you interpreted it. And that was that the Spirit speaketh things that cannot be uttered. Now, our understanding of that, my former understanding and your understanding of that, can be rendered in this paraphrase, which is this. The Spirit speaketh things that cannot be understood with the mind or language or something like that. Cannot be understood, comprehended. And literally that's not what it means, because utterance, as far as I understand, means a sound. Now, I could be wrong. We'd have to go to the Bible for that and look for a definition of utterance and see whether it's a sound or a communication, communication. So my understanding now, currently, would be this, that the Spirit speaketh things that cannot be put into sounds, which would group the so-called angelic language of speaking in tongues. So those are the two main ones that I want to talk to you about. And this video is my whole argument. And if you have arguments against it, fine, or you just want to think about it, that's fine. I don't really care, what you do. You're a good guy, and you're doing things for the Lord. You're doing more things for the Lord than I am. I can tell you that much from right here. You're doing a good job, and but that's my current understanding. What did I do it in? 4 minutes? That works. All right, man. I think this was the best one. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord bless the righteous, and stop the wicked.